friends. So, sorry about this situation, but allergies have been kicking my butt yesterday and today. So, I have some water here. This week we're going to do the mid-year book Freakout tag. I'm just going to get started on the questions because my throat is killing me. So, let's go. Question number 1 is the best book you've read so far in 2019, and I went looking through Goodreads because I was like, there's been so many really, really good books, but what was my favorite? So I went looking through Goodreads, and my Goodreads reading challenge is actually at 84 books, and my goal was only 100, so definitely going to get there. Super excited to see how far I can go. I'm not going to move it up. I'm just going to see how far I can go after that. But I went looking through the books I've rated 5 stars so far, and I picked 2. And so for the best books I've read so far in 2019, I'm going to go with Culty by Mariana Zapata, which was so good. Oh my god. This is about a soccer player who's trying to make the national team, and her like regular team that she's on as a professional soccer player gets a new assistant coach who is this world famous soccer player, and she kind of crushes on him, but it's mostly like a healthy respect for somebody who is successful in her sport. And from there they become friends, and then slow burn Mariana Zapata, it becomes a relationship, and it was so good. I loved it. The other book I'm going to pick for the best book I've read so far is Next Year in Havana by Chanel Cleeton. This is a dual timeline story. In the present day, we have Marisol, who is going back to Cuba, where her family had to leave. It was her grandmother's family had to leave in the past. She's going back to Cuba to spread her grandmother's ashes for her final wishes. And she gets there and kind of discovers more about what her grandmother went through and what Cubans at the time went through with Fidel Castro taking over power and everything. The other timeline is Marisol's grandmother in, what year was it? 1958. Fidel Castro is not quite in power yet, and there's kind of is it called the revolution? I don't know. History is still a little bit iffy for me on this situation. So Marisol's grandmother, Elisa, it's Elisa? Bad with names and how they should actually be pronounced. Marisol's grandmother is from a wealthy family, and her father is on good terms with the president from before Fidel Castro took over. So, as the revolution is going, the wealthy families that are on good terms with him are not on good terms with the revolutionaries. But Marisol's grandmother meets this guy who is part of the revolution, and spoilers. But, yes, this was such a good movie. It would be a good movie, actually. But, this was such a good book. I got this for Christmas because it was part of Reese Witherspoon's book club, and I read it on vacation in January, and I really think it's going to be one of my top books of the year because I loved it so, so much. Question number 2 is the best sequel you've read so far in 2019, and for that, I'm going to go with When We Left Cuba, also by Chanel Cleeton. This is the sequel companion to Next Year in Havana, but this one focuses on Elisa's sister Beatrice, who was more, Beatrice was more kind of outspoken about the things that were happening and more kind of aware than Elisa was, I feel like. I think she was the older sister, and so I don't want to say too much about the actual plot of this book because it was so good, and so, like, it was kind of romance, but then not really, and then, like, it was like a spy thriller situation, and it was good. You need to read it. Question number 3 is new release you haven't read yet but want to. And I actually think I am pretty caught up on my new releases. I have 2 that are coming out next week, but obviously they're not here yet, so I'm caught up on my new releases so far. Question number 4 is the most anticipated release for the second half of... Okay, so Say You Still Love Me by K.A. Tucker comes out in August. Rage by Cora Carmack, the sequel to Roar, comes out in August. Vow of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson, the sequel to Dance of Thieves, comes out in August. The Play by Elle Kennedy, I think, comes out in October. Making a Play by Abby Glines is part of the Field Party series. I believe this comes out in August. It may be September. I'm not 100% sure. And Supernova by Marissa Meyer comes out in either October or November. I actually need to look that up. Question number 5 is the biggest disappointment. Whew. I don't own either one of these books anymore. I did not like Red, White, and Royal Blue, as most other people did. The writing just wasn't for me. I didn't connect to it. I didn't like the main character. I don't know if we ever got the other point of view because I didn't read far enough into it, I don't think. But the point of view we did get, he was kind of a jerk. I also did not like Slayer by Kirsten White. I know where they were trying to go with it. I understand what they were trying to do, trying to make it seem like, Buffy was great, but this is a completely different set of characters, completely different set of things. But I think I just wanted more Buffy in it, and she was kind of trashed a little bit by the character that becomes the Slayer, and I didn't appreciate it. I just didn't appreciate it. Question number 6 is your biggest surprise, and I'm going to go with Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. This is a spin-off of the Remnant Chronicles, which I loved, but this one came out last year. I think it came out in the fall, and then I didn't ever buy it, and I asked for Christmas and got it then, and I read it in January and was so surprised how much I liked this. I was worried that I wasn't going to connect to these characters, because just because they're in the world doesn't mean that they're the same, doesn't mean it's going to be the same as the first series, obviously, but I really loved these characters. I loved all the side characters. I loved the plot. I cannot wait to see what happens next, which is why the sequel to this is on my most anticipated for the second half of the year. Question 7 is favorite new author. Can be a debut or a new to you. I'm going to go with both new to me authors. I'm going to go with Chanel Cleeton. I have only read this series. I am going to be picking up her other series. I think there's like a military romance series and something else. Maybe like was it a new adult something? I don't know. There was 2 other series that I'm interested in picking up. But I love her writing. I love her writing in this series, and I'm hoping that it will translate to those other types, those other, genres of books. That's the word, genres. I'm hoping it'll translate, so the other author I'm going to go with is Lorelei James. This is the Blacktop Cowboy series. I've read 4 or 5 of these now, and I really enjoy these Western romances, cowboy romances, whatever you want to call them. I did pick up one of her other series, which I enjoyed the writing of. It was a second chance after cheating, and I'm not about that situation. I just didn't enjoy that part. But I am going to be picking up her other books I think it's a spin-off of the one that I read. I'm going to be picking those up. It's just, she's a Book Bonanza author, so I was trying to get as much in as I could, and all the ones I kept finding were this series, The Blacktop Cowboys. Question number 8 is newest fictional crush. And I don't really have one. I don't know. I was thinking about this, and I was like, I don't really have crush on anybody. Currently. And I don't have one. Question number 9 is newest favorite character. And again, from Dance of Thieves, we're going to go with Kazi? Not too sure how to pronounce it. I think I was reading it as Kazi. She is a, street thief who gets taken in by the Queen's Guard and gets promoted up in the ranks. And finally, she's the leader of the team that is sent to deal with this town that's not, being a part of the kingdom or whatever. I forget the exact specifics of why her team had to go. But she is a badass. I loved her. She was hilarious, but also knew when to be serious. And she was my favorite. Question number 10 is a book that made you cry. And I'm going to go with The Last Letter by Rebecca Yarros. This book. This is a military romance, so already starting off. Whew. And it is about a woman who is a single mom, raising twin 6-year-olds, I think they were. She starts this correspondence with a friend of her brother who is, was it the Army? I think they were in the Army. It may have been a different branch. I don't remember for sure. But she starts correspondence with one of her brother's friends who is also, like, overseas with him. And it was an emotional book. I think I cried from, like, halfway through. And then I finally got composed. And then something else happened. And I started crying again. And it was just, there was lots of tears. Lots of tears. Question number 11. A book that made you happy. I'm going to go with Wires and Nerve, which I don't actually have because my sister is it. This is the graphic novel sequel companion set to The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer, which I loved. And I loved seeing all the characters back in action, but also getting a little bit of a new story. I just really appreciated Marissa Meyer taking the time to do that for the fans of the series. It was so good. And I'm also going to say The Rest of the Story by Sarah Dessen. This is her newest release from this year. It came out in June. I've read it and loved it and gave it 5 stars. And Sarah Dessen has my whole heart. And everything she writes makes me happy, so I couldn't not say it on this list. Question number 12 is most beautiful book you've bought this year. So, I didn't really know if this meant cover by or, like, the actual content of the book being beautiful. So, we're going to go with both answers because why not? So, for cover buys, these are the 2 that I found. I have Half-Blood, part of the Covenant series by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I found these covers at Half Price Books, and they're in really good condition, so I had to pick them up. And then I'm also going to say Clipped Wings by Helena Hunting because it's like this, like, firebomb wing set. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what that means. But I really enjoyed it. I love the colors of it. And I haven't read either one of these yet, but I can't wait to read them based on the covers. And again, if we're going with the actual content of the book being beautiful, I'm going to go with The Rest of the Story by Sarah Dessen. Sorry, I love Sarah Dessen, and I loved this book. So, question number 13 is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? Everything on my TBR shelf and my TBR cart. And preferably some of the, I think I counted 32 pre-orders for Book Bonanza. Plus whatever I come home with that's not pre-ordered. Plus, I need to start reading a Polycon authors for next year, which some of those will overlap with books I already have on my TBR. All the new releases. I need to read all the books. Okay? Just all of them. So that is my mid-year book freakout tag. I hope you guys enjoyed watching. If you've read any of these books or have any suggestions of, like, other books that I could compare, like, not compare to these, but, like, that are similar to these, let me know down below in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye!